The galaxy was a storm of fire and conflict. The Clone Wars had raged for years, touching every star system with its cold, metallic hand. Hope was a flicker in the vast darkness, a small candle against a hurricane. For Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, the galaxy's chaos was a mirror of his own heart. He was the hero with no fear, the great warrior of the Republic. But deep inside, fear was his constant companion. It was a cold shadow that followed him, whispering of loss and pain. He had seen visions in the Force, terrible dreams of his beloved wife, Padme Amidala, dying in childbirth. These images haunted his waking moments and stole his sleep at night. He loved Padme more than anything, more than the Jedi Order, more than the Republic he fought to protect. This love was his greatest strength, but it was also his deepest vulnerability. The fear of losing her was a poison, slowly seeping into his soul. He felt isolated, unable to share his secret marriage or his terrifying visions with his fellow Jedi. The Jedi Code forbade such attachments, viewing them as a path to the dark side. Anakin felt trapped between his duty as a Jedi and his love for his wife. This inner conflict was a heavy weight, pulling him down, making him question everything he had ever believed in. Chancellor Palpatine, a man Anakin had long considered a friend and mentor, seemed to understand his pain. He spoke of power, of ways to cheat death and protect the ones you love. Palpatine's words were like a siren song, promising a solution to Anakin's desperate prayers. The Chancellor offered him a path that the Jedi would never approve of, a path that felt both tempting and dangerous. Anakin listened, his mind clouded by desperation and his heart heavy with the secret he carried. He stood on the edge of a great cliff, with the light of the Jedi on one side and the dark promises of the Chancellor on the other. The weight of the galaxy seemed to rest on Anakin's shoulders. He was the chosen one, the one prophesied to bring balance to the Force. But how could he bring balance to anything when his own soul was so torn? The war had made him a general, a leader of men, but it had also hardened him. He saw death every day. He felt the suffering of countless worlds. The constant fighting, the political maneuvering, and the endless loss were chipping away at his spirit. He looked at the gleaming towers of Coruscant and saw not a beacon of civilization, but a place of secrets and shadows, where the greatest danger might be hidden in plain sight. The moment of truth arrived in the Chancellor's opulent office. The red walls seemed to close in as Palpatine finally revealed his true identity. He was Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord the Jedi had been hunting for years, the architect of the entire war. He offered Anakin the ultimate power, the knowledge of the dark side to save Padme from her fate. He spoke of immortality, of controlling life and death. For a split second, Anakin felt a pull towards this promise. The thought of saving Padme was so powerful, so all-consuming, that he almost reached for the darkness that was offered so freely. It felt like the only answer. But then another image entered his mind. He saw Obi-Wan Kenobi's face, full of brotherly concern and unwavering faith. He thought of Ahsoka Tano, his former Padawan, who had walked away from the Order but never from the light. He remembered his mother, Shmi, who had died in his arms, a victim of the very hatred the dark side represented. And he thought of Padme, not as someone to be controlled or possessed, but as the brave, compassionate leader she was. She would never want to be saved by a power that would destroy everything she believed in. She would want him to be the good man she had fallen in love with. Anakin ignited his lightsaber, its brilliant blue blade a stark contrast to the shadows filling the room. "You are under arrest, my lord," he said, his voice shaking but firm. He chose loyalty. He chose his friends. He chose the Jedi. In that single defining moment, Anakin Skywalker rejected the easy path of fear and embraced the difficult path of courage. He turned away from the selfish desire to control fate, and instead placed his trust in the Force and in the people he loved. He would not become the monster from his nightmares. He would face the future, whatever it held, as a Jedi Knight. Palpatine's kind facade melted away, replaced by a mask of pure evil. He cackled, his yellow eyes burning with Sith fire. "You are a fool, Skywalker," he hissed, lightning crackling at his fingertips. "You will let her die." The words were like daggers, aimed at Anakin's deepest fear. But Anakin stood his ground. He deflected the accusations just as he would deflect a physical blow. He knew Palpatine was using his fear against him. He would not let it rule him. He was more than his fear. He was a guardian of peace and justice, and he would not betray that vow, not even for the person he loved most in the world. Anakin raced back to the Jedi Temple, his heart pounding with the gravity of his discovery. He didn't hesitate. He didn't keep the secret to himself. He strode directly into the High Council chamber, where Masters Yoda, Mace Windu, and Ki-Adi-Mundi were in deep meditation. He laid everything bare. Palpatine was the Sith Lord, Darth Sidious. He explained the offer of power, the temptation, and his ultimate refusal. He held nothing back, trusting them with the truth, even the parts that exposed his own weakness and fear. He stood before them not just as a powerful warrior, but as a vulnerable man asking for their help. Mace Windu listened, his expression grim and unreadable. For years he had harbored doubts about Anakin's emotional state and his closeness to the Chancellor. He had seen the pride and anger that sometimes flared within the young knight. But now he saw something else. He saw humility. He saw loyalty. Anakin had been offered supreme power, the very thing Windu feared he craved, and he had turned it down. He had chosen the Jedi Order over his personal desires. In that moment, Windu's suspicion transformed into a profound respect. He saw the hero that the rest of the galaxy saw. Master Yoda nodded slowly, his ancient eyes filled with a new light. "A great danger you have revealed," he said, his voice soft but clear. "Act we must, but together." The Council did not shun Anakin or punish him for his emotional attachments. Instead, they saw that his love for Padme had not led him to darkness, but had instead given him the strength to resist it. They understood that his connection to others was not a weakness to be feared, but a strength to be embraced. They chose to trust him, completely and without reservation. Anakin was no longer an outsider. He was a true champion of the Jedi. United by this revelation, the Jedi Council quickly formulated a plan. They would not go to arrest Palpatine with only a small group. This was a threat to the entire Republic, to the very soul of the galaxy. They would face him together, as a unified force of light. Master Windu placed a hand on Anakin's shoulder. "Anakin," he said, his voice filled with a newfound trust, "the Council is placing its full confidence in you. You will be central to this action. You are the chosen one. It is time for you to bring balance to the Force as the prophecy foretold." Anakin felt a surge of purpose, no longer alone in his struggle. The final confrontation was not a clandestine arrest. It was a battle for the destiny of the galaxy. Anakin Skywalker and Mace Windu led a formidable group of Jedi Masters into the Chancellor's office. They were not there to negotiate or to plead. They were there to end the tyranny of the Sith once and for all. As they entered, Palpatine stood, a cruel smile on his face. "So the Jedi have come to die," he sneered, and from the sleeves of his robes, 2 crimson lightsabers sprang to life. The air crackled with Darkside energy as he lunged, a whirlwind of hatred and power. The Jedi moved as one. They formed a circle of light around the Sith Lord, their blue and green blades a vibrant wall against his crimson fury. Anakin fought alongside Mace Windu, their styles complementing each other perfectly. Where Windu was a pillar of strength and control, Anakin was a flowing river of instinct and power. He fought not with anger or fear, but with a clear mind and a focused heart. He was protecting more than just himself now. He was fighting for the Republic, for the Jedi, for Obi-Wan, and for Padme and their unborn child. His love gave him strength, not rage. The battle was ferocious. Palpatine was impossibly fast and powerful, his dark side abilities pushing the Jedi to their absolute limit. He struck down several masters, their lights falling silent on the floor. But the Jedi did not break. For everyone who fell, the others fought with greater resolve. Anakin saw Palpatine preparing to unleash a torrent of Force lightning at an unguarded Mace Windu. Without thinking, Anakin threw himself forward, his lightsaber absorbing the deadly energy. The raw power of the dark side coursed through him, testing his will, but he held it back, his resolve unbroken. In the end, it was the combined strength of Anakin and Windu that cornered the Sith Lord. Disarmed and exhausted, Palpatine lay cornered, his power spent. "He is too dangerous to be left alive," Windu declared, raising his saber for the final blow. But Anakin stepped in, his own lightsaber held ready. "No, Master," he said calmly. "We are not executioners. We will bring him to justice. That is the Jedi way." In that moment, Anakin Skywalker fulfilled his destiny. He did not destroy the Sith with hatred, but defeated him with compassion and principle. He brought balance not by giving in to the dark, but by holding fast to the light, even when it was the hardest thing to do. With Darth Sidious exposed and defeated, the truth of the war came to light. The emergency powers were revoked, the separatist leaders were brought to justice, and the Clone Wars finally came to an end. A wave of relief washed over the galaxy. The Republic, though scarred, began the slow process of healing. Under the interim leadership of Bail Organa and Padme Amidala, a new era of peace and diplomacy was ushered in. The Jedi Order, having faced its own brush with darkness, underwent a transformation. They re-examined their ancient codes, recognizing that compassion and connection were not weaknesses, but the very heart of the light side. For Anakin, peace was not an abstract concept. It was the quiet moments he could now share with his family. He was there when Padme gave birth to two healthy, beautiful children, Luke and Leia. Holding them in his arms, Anakin felt a sense of fulfillment he had never known. The terrifying visions were gone, replaced by a future bright with hope. He was no longer just a warrior. He was a husband and a father. He and Padme could finally live their lives openly, their love a celebrated example of hope for the renewed Republic, not a secret to be hidden in the shadows. Anakin's relationship with Obi-Wan Kenobi deepened into a true brotherhood. The secrets and tensions that had strained their friendship were gone. Obi-Wan became a beloved uncle to the Skywalker children, his gentle wisdom a perfect balance to Anakin's passionate spirit. They would often sit together on the veranda of Padme's lake house on Naboo, watching the twins play and reflecting on the hard-won peace. They were no longer just master and apprentice. They were equals, two friends who had walked through the fire together and emerged stronger. The Jedi Council, reformed and renewed, honored Anakin not just as the chosen one, but as a master of the Order who embodied its highest ideals. Anakin Skywalker had brought balance to the Force. He had faced the ultimate temptation and chosen the light. His legacy was not one of tragedy and destruction, but of hope and redemption. He proved that the path of the chosen one was not through power or control, but through love, loyalty, and the courage to make the right choice, even when consumed by fear. The galaxy was safe, his family was thriving, and he was at peace. He looked out at the twin suns of a peaceful world, his heart full, a true Jedi Knight who had saved the galaxy by first saving himself from the darkness within.